Mm. Raw honey. Doing my tea thing, honey and lemon, no sugar. But I just want to come to y'all and say how hilarious God is, right? You know, I struggle with the idea of wanting to come and start back teaching, start back doing Bible studies and all that good stuff like that. And you scroll down Facebook and you see so many things that you want to comment on, and it's like, nah, I'm not gonna get into chasing down every subject and every comment because that's just gonna be crazy. But lo and behold, I saw two today. The first one was about who's available, who's responsible, who's able to open up a church. It says something to the effect of just because you know a few scriptures doesn't mean you're supposed to open up a church. Facts. Because the major thing that's happened with social media and society that we have going on today is that everybody has a microphone. And when you have all of these voices, there's no clear-cut leader, and there's confusion. It's the blind leading the blind. He says, my sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow. Why? Because out of all of the voices that are going to reach out to you, you got to understand the voice of wisdom and the voice of knowledge. The way that we get to understand that, the way that it was set up from the beginning was that there to be fathers and mothers. So you get the chance to learn how to understand authority, how to understand guidance, get wisdom from the time you start in your household, so that when you go out into the world, that voice that says, hey, don't go down that road, or that voice that says, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, that's not a strange voice to you. When you break up the family, now, how can I tell you no? Because you're not used to hearing it. Pull your pants up. I've grown 17, 18 years without anybody being able to correct me, and not even really willing to correct me, because that takes a sacrifice. The love that you have for a person to want to correct them and make them do it right, and have to say over and over and over again to a child, sit down, stop, put that down, that's sacrifice. That's real love. Like that's something. It's way easier to just say, forget it. Let them learn on their own. Let them bump their head, because that takes no sacrifice. You can continue watching TV. You can continue doing whatever you want to do. And again, there's no knock against parents, because I know that that's a hard thing. That's what I'm saying. It's a sacrifice. It's really, really a hard thing. So when you lack that, number one, and then the second post I saw was where it's like there's a proposal to ban Father's Day because it's saying that it's offensive to mothers, homosexuals, and other parties. And I'm like, ban Father's Day, but not Mother's Day. Ban Father's Day. So what I was saying is, in effect, is ladies, you have to understand, whether you're a believer in the Bible or whether you're not, there's still another thing that lets you know this to be a fundamental truth, which is called the Willie Lynch letter. Which in my estimation, just because, like Superman has a not Superman, Flash has an opposite, I believe the Bible's the inspired word of God, and I believe that the Willie Lynch letter is the inspired word of the devil. And they both have blueprints on how to lead a life a certain way that work. And in both of them, you see that the correlation between man and woman, husband and wife, the family household structure, and the way that that's going to go is very, very important from the beginning. Whether you're talking about it in the garden, or whether you're talking about the fact that the Willie Lynch letter says, listen, make sure she understands that his voice and his safety and whoever he is no longer going to work for her, and she's going to have to do things on her own. She's going to have to make these decisions on her own. So both of them have a voice that comes up to the woman to separate her from the man. And in today's society, who do you see being championed? Who do you see being the leading voice on the planet? You see right now, this is the age and the time of the woman. Now, that's going to sound like hating. That's the initial reaction. That's hating. And you have a right to feel that way as a woman, or even as a man, because it's the man's fault. See, the abuse, the misogyny, the whatever you want to go, you're right. Wherever you want to take that, rape, molestation, fathers not being home, fathers touching their daughters, all of these things are the ammunition that the devil has, or that our enemy has, whether you want to talk about just building kingdoms in our black neighborhoods, or whether we want to talk about faith and the devil and all that other stuff. It's all the ammunition that's needed to start to say, listen, let's separate you from him. We have gotten accustomed in our lifetime and in lifetimes before, so it's probably ingrained, it's probably a generational thing, where we've gotten accustomed to seeing video of men of color get beat down, get killed, get choked to death, to where it's like somebody is standing there saying, I can see you, and it still goes down. And the thought process is not, hold on, man, somebody finna jump in, somebody finna jump, we're gonna risk our life. Nobody has that thought. See a young man from high school getting choked out by a police officer after graduation, nobody has the thought that, we're gonna jump in. The reason why I tell you that my views on these things are not religious is because I come from a place of understanding. I come from a place of conversation to understand. So when I watch something like, Malcolm X, and it says, who's in the hospital? And everybody marches to the police station, and everybody stands at attention, and Ray Barone's dad says, man, nobody should have all that power like that. That dude got too much power. That says something to me. I don't just block that away because this guy happens to be of the Muslim, belief. I don't just say, nah. No, hold on. What just happened there? So as a woman, you have to understand that, yes, it's our fault. We've done it wrong. But the goal is still to separate us from y'all. I preached on Mother's Day, and I gave a little nugget on Mother's Day where I tell you that the woman is the other part of God, that God being complete, God being perfect, is the function of mother and father, man and woman, male and female, that ministry being done in perfect harmony at all times. That's what makes God perfect. That's why when you and I come together, we can make we can have the power to create when we come together. But when God split the two ministries into two, the woman is still a part of that God ministry, which is why she was able to speak to the devil in the first place, which is why in the Willie Lynch letter it says she's going to rise up and do what she has to do for the family, because that's still God operating. And as a man, when we don't understand that, we're going to do the things that give the devil the ammunition to say, separate from him. You don't really need that. But you got to understand, on the contrast, the voice of fathers has been very, very subtly removed. We've talked, like I said, we see the things that's going on in the streets. We see people dying in the streets all day. You know what I'm saying? And so psychologically, like the Willie Lynch letter, that does something. But at the same time, us who were given the power of God, the power of the voice, the power to speak, we dominate the planet. The hip-hop genre of music dominates the planet. It is the dominant force on the planet as far as the voice of a people. And that comes from, you know what I'm saying? So the power that God has given mankind, we exercise it with excellence. And probably always have, like a lot of people believe. But let's take a look at that again. Fatherless households created the hip-hop generation. The hip-hop generation has been known for its misogyny. It's been known for its disrespect towards women. But when you take a real close look at it, it's the power of God that's going to become the most dominant voice on the planet. And what happens is the gift gets prostituted because people don't understand. So you take a guy that's 17 years old, 18 years old, 22 years old, and is living in a bad situation or desperately wants to be in a better situation. And you say, okay, well, if you allow me to prostitute your gift, then I'm going to make you famous. I'm going to help you make money. You're going to be a star. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. You're going to have girls. You're going to have fame. You're going to travel. You're going to see the world. All these promises and things like that. Now, what does that remind you of? Somebody who is a king that didn't understand they were a king being told, let me have your gift and I'll give you a kingdom. Isn't that the same proposal that the devil came to Jesus with? But the difference was that Jesus knew, I'm already a king. I got the gift. When I say to the man, listen, by the time you get home, your daughter going to be healed, that's going to happen. Why? Because I said it. I understand my authority. I understand the power that I've been given from my Father who art in heaven. I'm made in his image and his likeness. But the hip-hop generation, we sign contracts. We've done a lot of things, and then we were told that we had to get pushed in a direction that's going to make popular music, that's going to be for the world. So we prostituted our gifts. We made music videos showing women shaking their behinds. You know, the latest thing is we're rapping over the Queen, rapping over Lauryn Hill saying "Bust It Wide Open," right? Bust It Wide Open on top of the Queen song. That's it, because you know you got to understand that there's something behind the scenes that not just a white man. It's something behind the scenes that is working to cause you to be at odds with yourself and to be at odds with your father, so that somebody can walk like in Job. It says, when the sons of God came, the devil was there too, because even though he's an excommunicated son, a kicked out son, he's a son nonetheless. And you are the same. Sons, when I say sons, I mean sons and daughters. You know, you are the same. But we get taught to live a certain lifestyle, to want a certain lifestyle, so that somebody, when they appear before God, the accuser of the brethren, the one who's going to go before the God and say, look what I got your image and your likeness doing. They got all the power in the world. Don't know nothing. Look at them. Look at them. Dancing on top of that Lauryn Hill sample. Ugh, bust it open. Bust it open. Yeah, look what I got them doing. So we give, we lend, we rent out our space, our vessel, our body, our minds, our thoughts, our imaginations. We lend these things the power that we have and the dominion to dominate the planet. We lend that over to somebody or something else. And so now you have kids that are at very, very young ages who are dominating the planet with their voice, not being mature enough to be able to say the things that are going to make kings arise, and they're going to spur on the next generation. On top of that, you compound it with the fact that you have mothers who are carrying the burden of raising families and fathers who are disproportionately dead or in jail. And then anything else that's similar to a father figure, let's go ahead and bring up charges on them that's supposed to be past the statute of limitations, but let's convict them anyway, so that now the legacy of that is even erased, and replace it with whatever. So you have the voice of the woman being championed only in the space that you have weak men, or men that are not being. You don't have the voice of the woman and the man being championed. You don't have the voice of the king and the queen sitting together. They must be divided. And then we'll replace them with a lesser man, or an effeminate man, or a man that doesn't know anything, that really is just a boy. So whatever the case may be, she's going to have to continue to be the head, because when she gets with this guy who's been taught to be a dope dealer, he's been taught to, have every girl in the world, even though he loves her, he's too immature to really have her, and she still winds up having a boy, not a man. So it's just like when you play chess. Those who really know how to play chess, they understand how powerful the queen is, but they understand how the kingdom works. And those like myself who are just, novices, we rely heavily on the queen. Our game is queen heavy. We put a lot of pressure on what she has to do, what she is able to do, and all that other stuff like that. So imagine in real life, if that's the case, how easy is it for somebody to walk up and say, well, why are you second place? Why are you his help? Why don't you just do it yourself? Obviously, he don't know what he's doing. Yeah. And then time and time again, we showcase that in girls' lives. We break their hearts. We, molest, we rape, with all that stuff like that happens to our women. So the voice, the spirit that's talking to them is easily able to say, so why again? So why? And the whole way that we're going to be able to overcome is by learning. Number one, we have to do a better job at bringing up our men. And we have to have people who are in position of what I like to call gray hair wisdom. Older people. We have to bridge that gap. Because one thing I know is that there's a certain guy who didn't get along with the hip-hop generation, but had the legacy of building kingdom. And that guy has been totally removed and disgraced out of the picture. And who else do we got? Right now, I think Jay-Z is probably the biggest thing we have, or the closest thing we have to a generational father figure. And it took him to get to a certain age to figure that out, because there was a gap. He did a lot of, he even says, I almost went Eric Benet. What does that tell you about the household and the structure of the household? Oh man, I almost destroyed this thing. I didn't understand it. And for years, my voice, my gift, my power, my godlike power has been used to say certain things to push a whole generation into a certain way that now I realize, oh crap, I was messing up out here. So we find ourselves in a place to where the world is being set up for the dysfunction of queen and king, the not coming together of queen and king, and the replacement of that king with something that is not kingly, something that is not authority given. So now you got so with these other movements like homosexuality and all that stuff like that, you got people who want laws to be passed based on their offense. I'm offended. You got people who, as a grown person, I can't disagree with you. I can't say, nah. But again, how we've handled that wrong. We've bashed, and we've really, really done a terrible job at trying to understand, talk to, and have a conversation with somebody on that side of the fence. We've called them all type of names. We've told them that they're going to hell. We've done so much. So now that conversation is even hard to have. When you bully somebody for such a long time, when you stand on somebody and you squat, then you're going to have pushback at a certain point. They're back against the wall. They're going to push back. And when they start to push back and they see that they can actually push, then they're going to continue to push. You give somebody an inch, they're going to want, you let that devil ride, he's going to want to drive, So there's all of these things, these conversations that we've had wrong. And now they're being used as ammunition to shake the kingdom. And that goes for the kingdom of God. And that goes for the kingdom that you are as an image and likeness of God. And I'm trying to keep this from just about a certain skin color, because it's not about that. But at the same time, there's no denying that we are some blessed, we are some beautiful, we are some powerful people. But when we look at it, we're not using our power. It's not something that we understand. It's not something that we even control of. That Lauryn Hill sample came about because she's not in control. It was signed away. Now, again, these are decisions that were made by young people. So it's not to blame. I'm not bashing Drake. I'm not trying to bash Lauryn Hill. I'm not trying to bash gay people. I'm not trying to bash women. What I'm saying is there's a real adamant, on purpose, line being drawn between king and queen. And we have to realize that God is perfect because of those two coming together. Children are created, families are created, generational wealth, generational blessings, things that are done are created by the coming together of a thing. The more and more we allow it to be separated, the worse it's going to get. So we're going to start back bringing y'all the nuggets, because these are conversations that have to be really, really talked through, because it's a healing that has to take place. You know what I'm saying? We've done so much to women. We've misunderstood homosexuality, and we've said so much to those people. You know what I'm saying? We've not understood what it is to be a prophet and to have the power of the voice of God, what it is to be able to be a king and to have the power of a lawgiver. So we gave that gift away, and we see with the music that's being made today that it's people don't understand it. They're using it. You know what I'm saying? People are making a lot of money by getting you into a vibe, by speaking you into a place. It's the dominant voice on the planet right now. No other music genre has going on with it what hip hop has going on with it. And we can't just, not say, okay, well, this came from these people and this is dominated by these people and all these things like that. So it's not for me to push an agenda of being black, because I understand that we are gifted by God. So my skin color, this vessel, this little thing that I'm encapsulated inside of, is not the end all be all of me. I am deeper than this. I'm conscious. That's something you can't see. I got an imagination. I can call things from an unseen place to a place and make music videos or write songs that just blow your mind. That's what we've been able to do. But that means that it's coming from a place that I don't see, and I'm bringing it forward to a place that I can see. See, I'm the mouthpiece. There's a certain position that I have on this earth that was given to me by my Father, who's not made of flesh and bone. He just formed the body and breathed me into it. Here. Now, dominate. There's something else came along and say, so, you dominating, right? You know, all this is yours? Except for that. And then he draws a line between. So he don't want y'all to He don't, yeah. You could be God. And so we see people that operate the gifts. I'm trying to end this. We see people that operate the gift go wild because we don't understand. So we allow something else inside to drive. The gift is mine, but I'll sign it away to you if you give me all these things. And the gift is so strong that the person who has the gift a lot of times will say things prophetically that are just going to be said because that's the way the gift works. Doesn't mean I have the freedom, but I can tell you, no one man should have all this power and say, man, it's about to get crazy. Even though I'm heading into it, I can't find the brakes, but the gift is going to operate no matter what. And your enemy knows that. He knows that beauty is a gift. So instead of traditionally the model putting things on so that people want to buy the things she's covered in, we uncover our woman. Tell them to be, whatever. So a lot of this is probably going to sound real religious until we really break it down and have a conversation, because that's what has to happen. Conversation has to happen. We got to realize why. That's the difference between religion and the truth. The truth is about why. The truth hurts, but the truth will make you. See, you got to understand that these words are very powerful. And so when we say I'm wrong, the truth shall set you. Setting you free is saying, here, go. That's not what it says. It says it's going to make you. Lights are on. You can't unsee it. You saw it now. So if you decide not to see it now, then you're doing what the Bible calls you're searing your conscience with a hot iron. You're just saying, burn this away. I don't want to deal with it because ignorance is bliss. I keep talking for hours because, listen, there's a whole lot. My homeboy Mark Sam wanted me to a long time ago to do why people walk away from the ministry. And I actually did it. I wrote the whole thing. Me and God sat down and we discussed it. And I know why. I just didn't do it. I feel like, because you got to understand, listen, when you start to want to speak the truth, like look at what Lauryn Hill actually went through. Highest selling group with the Fugees. Why? Because the gift. My God. The Queen had the gift. Watching the interview with Pras or with Wyclef, it's something different. There was something always different. Still be in the church at Lalabella singing hymns a cappella. Like, come on, bro. Like, for a long time, I used to get in heated debates with people, and I was more so doing this on purpose. But at the same time, I had a strong case. Lauryn Hill, at one point, to me, was the best rapper alive. Now, my brother and people like that would say, well, she doesn't have enough material for you to say that. But it's like, if you thought about it, if you put her on a track with some guys, most guys, maybe not an Andre 3000, and at that time, Kendrick Lamar wasn't who Kendrick Lamar was, J. Cole wasn't who J. Cole was, it was just the regular guys, the regular guys. I'm not going to say no names and everything like that, but it was like, okay, besides like an Andre, and maybe an Eminem, but Eminem is going to speak over here, and she's going to speak over here, so what, it's like, who wouldn't she eat up? It's the gift. And now the gift was sold like it always was. That back in those days, what you did was get a record deal, sign a contract, and hope for the best if you didn't know what you was doing. Like a Master P who paid all of this money to get counsel, to get wisdom and counsel from somebody who was also a dominant figure in that was torn down in certain ways because of how dominant they was. Michael Jackson. Sat down with Michael Jackson's lawyer. Anyway, so you sign this contract and your gift is now on display for the world, but you have to do certain things. You got to make certain songs. You got certain rules that you got to live within. And then when they find out what you really want to do, when you start having a real understanding of your gift and the power of it, and you start really wanting to give the glory to the gift giver and say, I understand how he wants me to use this, then now you get into it with your owners. And they paint the picture of, well, you're not cooperating with the program, you're difficult, you're crazy. And then you come out with an Unplugged that's talking about these things and talking about the mystery of iniquity and what it says in those songs and all these things like that. And now they're saying, yeah, she's really crazy. We told you she was crazy, but look at her. She's talking about God. She doesn't even have the song. You know what I'm saying? Look at her. And we went along with it. For a lot of us, it was just like, And then you go to her concert expecting a song, and you can't hit a song, and she does something all weird, and it's just like, maybe she is falling off. Then you get to the point where Dave Chappelle is having his block party and says, yeah, we was going to have Lauryn Hill perform, but they not going to let her do that. The music that she made, the owners of it are saying, nah, she can't perform it. So we're going to do this Fuji thing. It's like, oh. Y'all still signing 360 deals after what they did to our Lauryn Hill? And then to throw it in your face, they say, yeah, you can make a sample of it. Let them bust it wide open to the queen. Woo! That was good. I should have been sipping this the whole time. But, so, we're going to come at y'all with these nuggets. This is just the first. We're going to really dive into building kings and building queens and building a kingdom, because that's your household. That's where that starts. To answer the question of who's able and who should be the person at the church, in 1 Timothy, Paul tells Timothy, listen, man, it's a good thing if you want to be a deacon, if you want to be a bishop, you know, those are good offices to have. Great job. You know, that training video, great job. You want to be an express-fed employee, whatever the case may be. Yeah, Paul was saying, great job. That's what you want to do? Good. Now, before we get into this, what's your house like? You and your wife get along? You cheating on your wife? You know? Do your kids understand and respect? Are you a teacher at your home? Do you really help them understand things at your home? Are you producing good fruit at the house? You can go out here and preach the sermon of, you know what I'm saying, that whole connotation that the preacher's kids are the worst ones. He was like, what? It was like that. What does that make sense? How should that be? Like, if you're the one that is instructing the people of God, how it is not happening at your own house? So there's certain things that we have allowed and that mind frames that we have gone with that have no real bearing, and like they just don't make any sense. So I understand why a lot of people are saying, I can't walk over there because that looks crazy when it comes to things like the church. Like I said, let me end this video, man. Look, I got tea coming. Get my Kermit on real quick. What that lady said? But I ain't said nothing. You ain't heard that from me.